From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
Welcome aboard the Ear to There Podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Gramlich, and before I get into this week's episode, I wanted to mention that I have an all-new podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher, on any of your favorite podcast playing sites. It's called Running for Sandwiches. Please check it out. It's all about Run Disney races and running and training and motivation. You can check it out at the website at runningforsandwiches.com. Or do a quick Apple Podcast or Stitcher search for the show, Running for Sandwiches. All right, well, like I said, I am Phil Gramlich. I am your host of the Ear to There Disney Podcast. I'm also the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, a Disney specialized travel agency. It's my job to take away all of that stress, all of that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip, so you can focus on the fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. You can find this podcast, my blog, or request a free, no obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. And I do mention it every week, but all of my services, from your best resort hotel price to booking dining reservations, fast passes, golf tee time, special event tickets, everything, I do all of that absolutely free of charge. Also look for me over at facebook.com/eartothere.phil every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. That is where I'll have the Ear to There Podcast live show on Facebook Live. This past week we did one of our trivia nights. We do live trivia nights every once in a while. On the nights that we're not doing trivia, I'll do just a question and answer, kind of catch up question and answer session on Facebook Live. They're lots of fun. We talk Disney news, we talk Disney rumors, all kinds of stuff. So I'll see you this Thursday, 7:30 p.m. And that address is facebook.com/eartotherphil. Now, with all that business out of the way, this is episode number 87 for the week of September 4th, 2017. Now, grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. So I've booked a lot of trips to Walt Disney World for myself, for my family, for friends, and then the last couple of years for an awful lot of clients. And in those couple of years, or those several years that I've been doing it for free, I've learned what makes a great trip and what makes a good trip, and especially what separates a great trip from a good trip. This week, my friend and I wanted to give you an idea of a great itinerary or a great trip to Walt Disney World. My guest today is a man who claims to be well-traveled. However, his family members beg to differ because he got lost earlier today as he was scoping out a new donut shop 15 minutes from his house. Don't worry, Carmen Sandiego, your job is safe. Please welcome Sir Johnny Shortsleeve to the show.
Good gravy, man. Wait, I'll hold on a second. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to do the math on this one here because I only had my boys in the car with me for that trip, and one of them was asleep, and it was the baby was awake. How did you? Who? that little rascal, man. He's loose lips sink ships, dude. Come on, man. What happened to bro code?
Yeah, that's not happening with the kids. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen with my kids either. So don't get too upset.
That is worth it. This donut shop was on point, man.
What was it? Is it a new, like, one of those mom and pop, like, designer donut places?
It's exactly what it is, but it's in a gas station. Like I had to loop around the block 17 times because I was trying to figure out where I knew about where it was, and then I got there and I was like, really? I've been past this gas station 17 times. I'm gonna need to fill up already. Yeah, it's one of those shops that puts like Fruit Loops and all kinds of crazy whiz bangs on the donuts. So yeah,
I think that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, look, you're eating donuts. Come on,
That's a good point.
Don't be so high on the highfalutin or uptight. You're eating donuts.
If you committed to the donut idea, I think putting a Fruit Loop on it isn't a big deal.
Wait, don't downgrade. It's not an idea. It's a lifestyle. It's like Tupac had the Thug Life tattoo on his belly button. When I lift my shirt up, it says Donut Life.
I need to see that the next time we hang out, actually.
No, you don't.
That would be the greatest. I think you should do it just for just have one do a Sharpie. So if someone do a Sharpie and take a picture of it,
we just go to the face paint spots in the park and say, hey, you know what? You got the paint. How about instead of painting my face, painting my gut?
We're going to use it for the cover art for the show. I'm using it. Get a picture tomorrow. Send it to me so it's ready. All right, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said I'm on it. There you go.
Dude, you got to make it happen. And if not, I know your kids are excellent artists. Have them do it with a Sharpie and take a picture of it. And we'll put it up.
Yeah. Traumatize those poor kids.
All right, man. Well, thanks again. These are always fun for coming on. And this is we're gonna do something different tonight. We don't have any kind of list going. There's no top 10 or 12 or 15 or 5 or whatever. It's gonna be different. So I'm excited about this one. Yeah, and I hope you are too. And I. It's funny because when we record, I haven't done the intro to the episode yet. So, like, you didn't hear it. So we kind of have to go cold. But what we're talking about is different ways or different, I guess, strategies on booking a Disney itinerary, right? I think if I have this right, if I have the idea we decided on right, that's kind of what I was looking at.
Yeah, right on, man. Because this was really an interesting idea for me because we have these friends of ours up north. They live way, way up north in Georgia, and they've been talking about coming down, and we like hanging out with them. And I thought, this would be kind of fun to kind of think about how we could plan, a little trip together with them. And it's one thing to have that conversation like with your friends or your family and to say, oh, wouldn't it be cool to go to Disney? And you just kind of leave it there. But then when you really think like, well, wow, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of things to choose. What would be the best way to do that? And you really start to sit down and think about it. That's a fun exercise. Like I'm not exaggerating. It's like therapy, just sitting there and just like, wow, what would I do next? Or how would I plan this day? It was a lot of fun for me to kind of put together what I think would be a pretty good itinerary if we can get the Smiths to get down here and hang out with us. I'm just kidding about the Georgia. They actually live out in California, but like to make fun of how far deep down in the South we are down here.
Is it even considered is Florida considered the South? Because it's so much of a melting pot.
You know what it is? I think here's how not North, South, Confederate and Union, that kind of stuff. I always think about I always see in the wintertime when they show like the snow bands, it's like the whole country except Florida and Hawaii.
It is. Yeah, just kind of all those colors just stay out of those two spots.
Yeah, just doesn't come south of that Florida Georgia line.
That's crazy, and it's also a great band apparently.
Not bad. I only know the one song that was on the radio.
I honestly don't know any of their stuff. I know that I bought my parents tickets for their anniversary last year. That's all I know.
Dude, you're a good kid, man.
It wasn't just me. I think we had 20 people. I spent $5. I'm kidding. No, that's not true. We bought them, but still, I don't know their music. But no disrespect to Florida Georgia Line, even though my mom calls them Georgia Florida Line, and it makes me laugh every single time. I don't know why. She just mixes up the two words. It's just really funny. All right, man. So let's do it this way. Why don't we'll kind of run down your itinerary, your trip first. I'll pick it apart completely. I'll tell you why my ideas are better. And no, I'm kidding. But why don't you get started and we'll see how you would plan, your Disney trip.
Okay, cool, man. And I think a lot of what I'm going to say here probably isn't going to come as a huge surprise to you or anybody who's heard our episodes before.
Yeah, lots of donuts and Fruit Loops.
And tangents.
Yeah. Already, right? Like just that right there. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. you beat me to the punch.
Yeah.
Here's what I was thinking, and this is an idea. I don't remember when we talked about this on the podcast, but I feel like we have talked about it at least once. And so the idea was, I was thinking about, these family friends of ours, the Smiths, to book a 3-bedroom grand villa at Disney's Wilderness Lodge in their new Copper Creek villas and cabins, the DVC side of the property. And I was thinking about like doing like a 5-night, 6-day trip, because they have to go coast to coast to come out here. So doing like a 3-4 day kind of trip is kind of hard when you're going, from West Coast to East Coast. So I thought 5 nights is probably a pretty good amount of time for them to, factoring in the travel and all this and that. And so they have enough time to kind of get acclimated to the time zone and then, jet lag and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking like the perfect time to do this would be like the first week of December, because you're getting all the holiday decorations are full swing by then, and you're kind of missing out like the Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's crowds. And the weather is usually perfect.
Yeah, I absolutely love the weather that time of year. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. First week of December is just absolutely amazing here. And I thought like those 3-bedroom grand villas would be neat to share. I don't know, man. Have you seen the pictures of those things, man? They are silly, silly, vanilla silly, man. They are, and they're really nice.
And I probably will never stay. I want to stay in one, but I'm never going to get that many people to come down with us for a trip. I'm getting my parents to come down with us on our next trip, and I'm excited. We're sharing a 1-bedroom. With my parents, which is great. But yeah, you got to get it. You have like you're saying, you have to get a good group of people together to do one of those.
Yeah, and they have. I think they sleep up to 12, but they got like 3 main bedrooms in there, and it would be 9 of us, and so that's a good amount of people. But when you think about like the cost, if you did, each family got their own rooms. You're not really going to be saving a whole lot of money just doing like the standard rooms or whatever. And then, combining them, you might pay a little extra, but you're getting a lot more in terms of like the amenities, in terms of how the room is. And I thought that'd be a cool idea because we're cool with them and we don't get to see them often. And I think it'd be kind of hard. You got in your own rooms and you're just kind of like hanging out or whatever. And this way with those grand villas, you have some like living room space where you can like sit down and hang out. You're not like sitting on someone's suitcase or whatever. So then there's like the kitchen area and the dining room table. So we all we have a gaggle of kids between us, and it'll be nice to be able to sit down and actually enjoy meals kind of leisurely. So that's why I thought that would be a good idea. So in terms of like the itinerary booking, this is where things might get a little tricky because, we don't need passes. My family has the annual pass, but they need tickets because they're not annual pass holders. And then, so figuring like day one, like check in usually around like 3:00. I was thinking, you know what, they have a long way to travel. So it might be a good idea to just say, day one, checking in, getting here from the airport, have some pool time. Go for a swim, because first week of December is way fair game for swimming down here in Central Florida. The pool, they renovated the pool at the Wilderness Lodge, or the pools, and they're amazing. So that'd be nice, just kind of relax, have a swim, just kind of then afterwards go back to the room, freshen up and unpack everything. And then I was thinking, day one to head to Disney Springs, in the evening. And look, that way, you're not taking that first day for a ticket for them, because, if they're arriving and they're tired, they may not want to traipse around the parks on day one and really get the value. But instead of taking that money, what they would have spent, and pump that into the room, get the nicer room and be maybe a little more sparing on like one day of ticket.
It is tough. Like you were saying, like coming from the West Coast, where you're, instead of picking up 3 hours, you're losing those 3 hours, and I like I said, I've never done that before. I've done it the other way where I'm always gaining those 3 hours, and we'll go out to, like, we just took our kids to Disneyland for the first time last month, still, July, and we did the park the first day because you can. I think losing those 3 hours and with the jet lag and everything else, that's tough to do a park on that first day. I would imagine I know just coming back from the West Coast, we're usually beat up, when we get home. So I can imagine feeling like the parks are probably a little bit too much. And like you said, you could balance out the cost by not doing a park on that first day. So that's a good call.
Yeah, and their kids are teenagers, so with that, they got tons of energy, but I still think it's good for rest. Just to kind of take it easy, because you want to start your vacation off on a good note. And I know people are gonna like argue with me on that point, and that's okay. It's totally cool. If you want to go like full bore adrenaline rush and just kind of go morning till night all day, that's totally cool if that's your thing, if you're a commando Disney traveler. But I'm not, and I kind of like to take it easy. But I was thinking, so in terms of like what we need on the itinerary, we talked about the room, but I was thinking that where we need help would be the dinner reservation. I was thinking, again, Disney Springs, you don't need theme park admission. I was thinking about a dinner reservation at Terralina. Do you know the name Terralina yet?
I don't. I'm a horrible travel agent.
It's okay. I was specifically trying to stump you on this one.
Yeah, no,
that's the new name of the Legacy Portobello restaurant.
Oh wow!
So they've announced the name. It's going to be still an Italian style restaurant, but now they're saying it's going to be open early fall. So by first week of December, should be good to go. I don't know. It doesn't look like they're quite yet doing the reservations. But I have a feeling this one's going to be a good one. I was just doing a little bit of reading on it, and they have a James Beard chef, which I think he was there. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. Don't fact check me on this either. but I think he was there when it was Portobello too. But still, a James Beard award-winning chef is kind of a big deal, and I love Italian food, so it'd be kind of neat to check out something new.
When I was in college, I had a James Beard for a couple of years. I had to shave it though because I started working at Disney, but I did have.
You want to know? I remember hearing somebody say that the funny thing about college guys when they're applying for jobs is you can tell they're college guys who've been having a good time because when they go to apply for a job, they got their suit on, got their hair slicked back and looking nice and sharp. But when you look at their face, clean shaven, but they got this crazy tan lines from their beards. They had to trim their beards back, and they've just been wearing a beard forever. And they got, like that pale white skin where the beard and the mustache were. And then the tan eye line.
So what's really I'm sorry to take it off on a tangent, but what's really funny about that was I was listening to Lee Cockrell's podcast recently, and he was talking about how he got a message from a cast member that he sat down with like last year to talk about moving up as a manager in Walt Disney World, and he said the kid, he posted a picture of himself, and now of course in Walt Disney World you can have a beard or a mustache now as long as it's trimmed and neat and all. And a guy sent Lee a picture, and he said, I've just been promoted to manager, and he had this beard, and Lee wrote him back. The only thing he wrote back was, congratulations, now go shave. And it's true. Like you want the beard, you want to look like a young guy, but you got to look like the executives look if you want to move up. That's right. The way it goes. You can't. Anyway, that's just a crazy tangent on the James Beard award winner, but we saw that
Lee Cockrell should be writing for Hallmark greeting cards. Congratulations, now shave.
The guy he's blunt, but he's been effective in his career, that's for sure.
It works. Yeah. So that's where I think things will get tricky for you if you're going to help us out, if you're willing to take on the challenge. Is it's 9 of us, but so this is where I'd be interested to hear your take on this. So if you're traveling with a large family or with 2 families or more, and say like this case with 9, is it something where do you often advise your clients, or would you tell me to say, you know what, just get one table for 5 and one for 4 and kind of be happy with it? Or is it pretty easy? I guess it really depends on the restaurant, right? In terms of what they can accommodate.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It depends on the restaurant. There are some that are better as far as layout goes for large parties than others. Like restaurants like Beer Garden, obviously in Germany at Epcot. Via Napoli in Epcot. Those are, they have the Wilderness, Whispering Canyon Wilderness Lodge. Those have the bigger tables. They're kind of built for those bigger family parties. I don't know the layout of the new restaurant that used to be Portobello over there. So I don't know what the table situation, what the rooms are going to look like. But I'd say 9 isn't impossible. You can get 9 at Be Our Guest. I mean, I'll push a couple tables together for you. Yeah. Just as long as you do it, like you really just have to make sure you get it 180 days out. Really is what it boils down to, I think.
Well, and one thing I've noticed, and I hope you don't think I'm a jerk for saying this, but when I've gone through the restaurants at Walt Disney World, I've noticed that when you see a large group, like let's say 9 or 10, whatever, usually they'll push a couple tables together, like you said. But what ends up happening is the group that's on one end of the table kind of just, that's who you're talking to. And the group that's on the other end of the table, that's who you're talking to. It's not like you're at somebody's house for Thanksgiving and you can kind of all talk together because you're in a loud restaurant. So I was thinking to myself, in a case like this, we're talking about, my family and the Smith family with 9 of us, like, you know what, maybe we'd be cool with splitting up because then we can kind of, figure out, get a chance to mix and mingle the groups a little bit and have a chance to actually have a conversation and not yell and shout and that kind of thing and try to converse and have a relaxing meal.
You obviously didn't grow up in my family because that's what we do. We just yell and scream. Like seriously, when Amy moved, like when she moved to well, actually, I remember her coming up to meet my family. We were living in Florida and we came up, I think for Christmas, and it was like super intimidating for her. I had this big family. I know it was in the summer. It was at Jersey Shore. And I had this, huge family and aunts and uncles and all that. And still to this day, I'm 38 and I have I don't know how many cousins on my one side, 24 first cousins or something like that. And all my aunts and uncles, when we all get in a room together, we all get in a house together, all you do is just try to talk louder than the person next to you so everybody can hear you. Like, it's just what we do. Like, you can hear my voice now. Like, I'm not quiet. I've never been quiet. I never will be quiet. Anyway, so we never have that problem because we'll if we're sitting at a table and we'll just yell across the room until the other person hears us. But
that's gotta be it. Why don't you have a reality show, man? I say this all the time. It's true. Come on, enough with the Kardashians. Come on, Seacrest, give it up.
You need to. If there was a camera at now Christmas has been moved to my house. I don't know why, actually. My mom used to have it, and then they downsized into an apartment, my parents. So now that we have a house, my wife and I, we have, it's not a huge house. It's not even a really big house, but we have like 50 people for Christmas every year. And if you could be a fly on the wall, man, you'd be blown away. People it just gets louder and louder and louder and louder as the night goes on. It's nuts.
Jeez, what's the fire marshal rated your house at? You know how you go in a restaurant, maximum occupancy? You need to get one of those signs made up.
Yeah, we're definitely breaking those laws every year.
Jeez.
Anyway, man, I'm sorry. I'm completely going off the rails.
No. Good deal, man. No, that's cool. So that's kind of like a low key day one to kind of, especially in this kind of example where it's, 2 families getting together who don't get a chance to see each other all the time. Not really trying to kill ourselves on day one, just to get there, relax, hang out, enjoy each other's company. And I think that's a beautiful thing about traveling to Disney is that, it can be a great destination location for families to come together and hang out and spend time. And I think that would be a really, really cool way to do it. Just to kind of take it easy at the hotel and check in, then head down to Disney Springs, meander around, do some shopping, get some good food. Terralina. Let's keep our eyes on that one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, want me to cruise into day 2, or
how just keep going? I'm just going to kind of, I'll just interrupt you when I feel like it.
Cool, man. Yeah, just go ahead and interject, and we'll hear your thoughts along the way. So here's my thing. So, talking about this, getting the 3-bedroom grand villa, it's got the really awesome kitchen in there. I mean, it's like a baller suite, man. It's like something you see on like MTV Cribs. It's insane. So I was thinking like, the short sleeve family usually would probably just hang out, eat breakfast at the room, take our time. Cool about something like that is we can bring our own groceries in there, or, obviously you talked about this in one of your recent podcasts about Garden Grocer. Oh, your hack podcast.
Yeah.
Garden Grocer. There's a bunch of other ones like Shipt and things like that. Even you can even buy limited supply groceries at the Wilderness Lodge Mercantile Shop, and we were talking about that here. But other DVC hotels or the hotels that have DVC properties on them, like the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian, and they have a decent little selection of grocery type items you can get right there on site. So I was thinking, my crew would probably take it easy, waking up and, have some breakfast that we brought in from groceries and, use that kitchen and that dining room area to the fullest and make, get the most bang for our buck out of it.
You get the Eggs Benedict going in the morning. I know you, man. You'll have that cookbook out and be ready to rock.
Yeah, man. I'll smoke up some salmon, and I'm really good at indoor smoking. Like, we'll find like a vent, like the fart fan in the bathroom or something.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you are. Mostly. What do you call that? Viking. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I have the immune system of a Viking.
You do a lot of that.
Walk around
smoking.
Yeah, walk around licking door handles just to kind of keep the immune system on its toes. But the Smiths are go-getters. Like, I know how they roll. Like they have a motor. So they'll probably be go-getters who get up and wake at the crack of dawn. And I think probably would be cool for them to do like the 8 a.m. breakfast reservation, like Crystal Palace, which again, like going back to like, I'm like plugging your hack episode. You talked about like doing that at the Crystal Palace. So they're in there in the parks in the Magic Kingdom before it opens. They can get a really hearty breakfast that gives them the energy to go, and then ready to roll 9 a.m. when the Magic Kingdom opens. And I was thinking by then, we could meet them there. And my thought would be to plow through as many rides in like Fantasyland as we can without fast passes. Because if you're there at 9 a.m. and you're, kind of cruising through some of those rides, you can get through a lot in the morning.
Dude,
if
agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's worth getting up. And then I was thinking, with all that hecticness, probably then just kind of like head back to the hotel, have lunch at Geyser Point. By the way, I have been just going nonstop on about the salmon BLT at Geyser Point. Guess what's not on the menu anymore?
Oh, no, already?
No kidding. So I had some words with one of the managers there. Not like we weren't getting into like a fist fight.
Yeah, it wasn't South Philly Bob words.
No, man. We weren't that. No, man. We're down in the gentle South here. But I said, what happened? Were you guys not selling a lot? And he said, yeah, it wasn't moving a lot of units on that. But he said you can order from the bar. They do have the ability to do it in the bar from because Geyser Point is like 2 sections. It's got the bar, which is really cool. All these little tables around there. And then there's a walk-up window that's attached to that little structure, which is where I tend to go. And you get like the burgers and all that kind of stuff. But he said if you go to the bar and order off the bar menu, they can do it from there because they share a kitchen. So anyway, back to my idea. So like hotel, back to Wilderness Lodge, Geyser Point, grab some lunch. That bacon cheeseburger there is no joke. Dude, at the guys at Geyser Point's window.
I told by I think Mrs. Shortsleeve told me about that. About the burger.
Yeah, and the waffle fries. Good gravy, man. It's good stuff. All right, so I talked about this on, I think this was the Wilderness Lodge episode, renting a pontoon boat, go for a cruise around Bay Lake, dip in the pool, and just kind of taking advantage of a little bit of downtime at the hotel. And then from there, it's easy to just freshen back up. And then I was thinking for the nighttime set of the agenda, head to Epcot and see if you could snag some fast passes for Spaceship Earth and Soarin' and the Disney Pixar Short Film Festival. And here's like the real kicker, though. See if you can score us one of those Candlelight Processional dinner packages.
Nice.
at Via Napoli.
Yeah, so I like I kind of like where you went with the. See, I'm a big fan of the splitting the day up like that too, splitting like and having a park hopper, doing a middle of the day break. I think with little kids like you and I both have, that's pretty crucial. I don't think like my kids now at their ages 4 and 6, almost 5 and 7, they could make it all day in the parks, but it would be a fight and it would be miserable. And why push it? It's if you're not going to have fun and you're going to have fights and they're going to be grouchy, I'd rather go back to the hotel. Like you said, give them a break, get lunch. I'll even go back to the room and get them some, like I said, we order garden grocers too. Get back to the room, get them some snacks and some juice boxes. Let them veg out on their Kindle Fires or watch Stacy on at the top, or the must-dos. I was going to say top 10s. It's not that. The must-dos, must-do Disney, and, sit in the air conditioning for a while. Let them recharge the batteries a bit, and then go back out to a park, a second park, not the one you were in the morning, which is why the park hopper makes a ton of sense. And I also like you're pushing your fast passes for the evening or for your second park. I think it's a really good idea. Because I think it's a really silly idea to use your fast passes in the morning, especially early morning when, like you were saying, you could bang out a ton of attractions. If you're at Magic Kingdom, I was saying on the hack episode, go left instead of right. Don't go to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Don't go to Space Mountain. Even Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor is going to have a wait at first thing in the morning. Go to your left. I could bang out, like, realistically, Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, Big Thunder Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, what else? A couple more in the first 2 hours of the park's open because no one's over there. Like, and you don't need fast passes. And like
choke down a couple Dole Whips.
Yeah, man, choke down. Yeah, or a Citrus Swirl. I don't know. You don't have to be a Dole Whip guy. Could be. I know there's some Citrus Swirl people out there. Or head over to. Oh, I was gonna say go to Fantasyland and get the what do you call it? The mac and cheese, but it's not there anymore. The what was it? The
pot roast mac and cheese.
What am I saying? The pot roast
mac and cheese. Yeah,
pot roast. Yeah, it's gone. It's a bummer.
Don't they have like buffalo chicken mac and cheese now or something in this place?
Yeah, they're not. That's not as good. It's just not as good. But yeah, you can do all that stuff in the morning and then save your fast passes for late morning or early afternoon, like you were saying, or evening. That's a better way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it seems like, I think the strategy a lot of people use is they want to go ahead and burn through those fast passes early, and then as they do like the rolling fourth fast pass and kind of go from there, right, things become harder to get.
Yeah, there's nothing to do. Yeah, sure, you can do the rolling fast pass technically until the park closes, but you're going to be stuck doing things, like I said, like Stitch's Great Escape. I know it's seasonal, but, or, the Tiki Room. I don't think that he has a fast pass line, but you know what I'm saying? Like things like that you generally are not going to need fast passes for. That's what you're going to get later in the day with that rolling fast pass. Be smart about it. Use your fast passes late morning, afternoon, evening, and use the early morning to bang out as much stuff as you can. And don't hit the headliners. That's what you do. Don't run straight. Like I said, don't run straight to Space or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Run to things that are going to have intermediate waits all day because you can bang those out and you don't have to wait in that long line. That's just the way I would do it. I don't know if you have a different idea that, let me know, but that's how we handle it.
Here's a crazy idea. Do you think in our lifetime we'll ever see a fast pass kind of arrangement for the standard the complimentary transportation, like the monorails and the buses?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, they kind of had it with the express buses that you paid extra for.
Yeah,
but they canceled that already.
It's kind of like a schedule. I'd feel bad though because if you're filing out of the parks and everyone's tired and
there's that line,
and you're breezing past me, like, see ya, suckers. Got my fast pass for the monorail.
When I had a friend of mine that worked in the parks in Walt Disney World for years. He's not there anymore. But we used to go, and whatever park he was working at, as a manager, he would backdoor us on attractions. And, man, I did feel bad. It would be like a 2-hour wait for, I don't know, Splash Mountain, the 90-minute wait, and we wait 30 seconds. And, he had the right to do it. He was a manager, and it was just, 2-3 people. But, yeah. I always felt bad, but then again, I didn't say no. Because, listen, I know that it puts me at an unfair advantage, but I was still doing it. I was still riding, so.
Well,
I
here's
think
the
you're
thing,
right.
I
I would feel bad. I would feel bad if I used my Fast Pass or whatever it was to jump on a monorail and you're walking past the mom with the 2 babies who were crying, and you're, us, and we're pushing 40, and we're like, see ya. I'm going back to my room and having a craft beer. I feel bad about that.
Well, but here's the thing, though. I think every guest does have the opportunity to have something special in terms. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but it's likely that you will find some special favor along the way, some cast member that does something to make your visit a little extra. It's a little extra special. So I think it's very easy for somebody to see something and go, gosh, I that person's getting something that I'm not getting. Yeah, I understand that's human nature, but I think, just hang in there. Cool stuff a lot of cool stuff happens at Walt Disney World. It'll happen to you too.
Agreed, man. Your first job as a cast member is not the role that you're hired for. Your first job as a cast member in Walt Disney World is to make magic for guests each and every day. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do above everything else. So, that's what the managers and that's what, Michael Eisner wanted, and that's what Bob Iger wants. And I know it's a bottom line thing, and they want you to be effective and efficient, but your number one goal as a cast member is to make magic for guests. Then it's pick up trash. Then it's your role. So that's how Disney works. That's how Walt Disney World works. So I think you're right. If you hang around and you're there, that magic will come around, and you'll get an advantage at some point. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Cool, man. So want to jam on day 3?
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
All right.
I'm along for the ride. You
All right. So thinking the same kind of deal in the morning. Team Short Sleeve will hang out at the room and enjoy breakfast. Take it easy. Those Hot to Trot Smiths, they're going to probably want to go grab breakfast. And I was thinking they might enjoy breakfast at Tusker House. I know that's one that you love.
Yeah, that's a great call.
You are a huge evangelist of breakfast at Tusker.
I do. I am. I say it. I've mentioned that on so many podcasts. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But the food's great. The character interaction is phenomenal. As good as Chef Mickey's, I think. The food's better than Chef Mickey's, so the Smiths are making a great call with that one.
I wonder if part of it is, in terms of, I have this perception that it's not very high on the radar for many people. Yeah. And part of it is because it's very easy to walk past it and not realize you walk past it.
I agree. Yeah, it is.
It's kind of like it blends in with the scenery there.
Which it's supposed to do in that part of the park, really.
Yeah, I guess it'd be kind of hard if they had like a big neon sign and like carnival barkers out there with a megaphone.
Do you remember back when it was a counter service restaurant though?
You know what? No, that doesn't ring a bell to me. How long ago was that?
It's going back 10 years. But I mean, when I worked there, that's 19 years ago when I was on my college program. But when it opened, it was a counter service restaurant, and yeah, I was in there every day because whenever I had restroom duty, when I was on restrooms, I would for custodial, I would walk through, and it was like my favorite part of the day because I would have to walk into the building and then walk through all the guest areas to get to the restroom, and it was freezing cold in there every time because of the air conditioning. It was blasting. So think about it. I'm all day. I mean, I might be inside in the air conditioning for 10, 15 minutes total. So that walk was like my little vacation. Every day I walk into that restaurant, kind of take my time walking through to get to the bathroom. It was nice.
You said restroom duty.
I did say restroom duty. Yeah.
If you have a line of T-shirts, that should be like one of your little catchphrases.
What's funny is it is a funny thing, but if I had to tell you how many times I had to clean that phrase up after guests, you would be grossed out completely. But anyway, yeah. So it used to be a counter service restaurant. Now it's a table service with characters, and I think the best like hidden gem character dining location for those characters, for the Fab Five type characters. It's the best one. I really think so.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I think. This is kind of flies in the face of what we talked about a second ago in terms of thinking about your fast passes in terms of not doing it in the morning. I think for them, they'd probably want to snag some fast passes for Avatar Flight of Passage. I know that's so hard to get.
That's so funny that you just said that, because that's all I'm looking at that right now, because I wrote on my list when talking about Animal Kingdom, make sure to mention to throw that strategy out the window, because you like you were saying, you get either Flight of Passage or Navi River Journey for a fast pass for Animal Kingdom. And most guests, when they go to the parks, if you're going 5 days, 6 days, you're going to spend 1 day at Animal Kingdom. So you're going to get, you spend those 2 days at Magic Kingdom probably, or 2 days at Epcot. So you only get fast passes for one of those two. So you're right. Your best bet is to get one of those, a fast pass for something like that, and then get in line for something, for the opposite, for the other Pandora attraction, I think, first thing when you get there.
Well, and you know what's interesting? I know there's going to be somebody who hears me say this and think I'm the biggest idiot ever. But I feel like that Animal Kingdom is the busiest in the morning hours. And then people, the guests will kind of do the morning, grab lunch, and do like the thing we talked about, go back to the hotel and go to the pool, or go back to wherever they're staying, go to their pool, or relax. And I don't know, the afternoon and evening hours don't seem as crazy to me. So it's almost like you'd want to do the reverse strategy and say, snag the fast passes in the morning. And then if you're going to be there in the afternoon, evening, don't worry about it. Because look, you're going to have to wait at some point in time. Right. It's not, that's just the reality of it. And it's cool because a lot of these attractions and shows have some pretty neat things you can do as you wait in terms of, interactive cues, things like that.
I agree, man. If you're going to do one of those, if you're going to wait in one of those queues for either of the Pandora attractions, I mean, I almost say, I can't speak. I almost say it's better to wait in a Flight of Passage queue, because there's so much going on in there. I mean, you and I, when we walk through, we're like, holy cow. Like it's a show before the pre-show, before the attraction. It's an attraction in itself. It really is.
Yeah, and there's so much to kind of look at and kind of trying to figure out how it plays into the story that's being set up there. And yeah, you can set, if you're an hour in there, it sounds crazy that would be an enjoyable hour, but there's a lot of cool stuff to look at in there.
Dude, you and I were in there for a while. We were in there over an hour when we waited, because we still never got an explanation as to why that was. It said, 15 minutes, and we waited over an hour?
It's probably that guest in front of us that was screaming her head off. Remember that?
Yeah,
that scared me to death.
I have it on video, actually. I never put that online, but yeah, I have a video. As soon as we were ready to go in the pre-show area, some lady started screaming at the top of her lungs. Yeah. And you and I looked at each other. We were like, oh no. Like, what are we?
What did we sign up for?
Because that was still during not testing. Geez, during the previews time. So it wasn't officially open yet. Yeah. So that was. Yeah. But you're right. There's so much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know. That's a Smash Mouth song.
Hey now, you're an all-star.
There is so much to see and so much to do in that queue. Now I'm rhyming, and I'm not even doing it on purpose. But there is, and it's that's one that you can just sit and just that the Navi Pandora guy figure alone, who's in like that chamber. I don't know how they do it, but it blows me away. Like it's so. I videoed that as you and I walked by, and then I had to stop and walk back and see it again because it just blew my mind. It's amazing.
Well, and the pictures don't do it justice, because when you see it in pictures or on YouTube, you're like, okay, I see. That's interesting. It's a Navi alien, whatever that guy is. But the scale is crazy. It's like if Shaq was an alien. Yeah. Like that's like how big that sucker is.
He's a little bigger. Like he's bigger than Shaq. And he has like, you look at the figure and he's twitching, and his eyes, like his eyelids are like twitching and his muscles and fingers are moving and toes are moving and it's amazing. I don't know how to do it, but anyway, sorry to go off on another tangent, but that is a queue that I literally would spend an hour in if the ride broke down, I'd be like, Like the attraction is amazing. It's the best attraction Disney's built in a decade at least. But the queue is that good that you'd be disappointed, but you're like, I got to see some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, it's cool. And it brings me to an interesting idea, though, and I think in terms of why I chose what I did, and in terms of this itinerary I crafted. I was saying that they would do that and kind of go around, get some ride, get some fast passes, that kind of stuff at Animal Kingdom. But my crew would hang back at the hotel, have a relaxing morning at the pool, and they also have a bunch of games and activities at the Wilderness Lodge and the other resorts too on property. But I think there's two things here that are interesting about this. So number one, I think it's important that if you're traveling with friends or family and you're coming together as like a destination type event at Walt Disney World, it's important to remember that you don't have to spend every waking moment with those friends or those family members. In fact, it's probably better to have a little bit of separate time so that you can have time by yourself or time with your family and your immediate family to actually vacation and enjoy and relax. And one of the things, so that's number one. Number two is I don't hear many people talking about having morning time at the pool or just hanging around the resort in the morning, because normally you hear about it like lunchtime, afternoon, or even the evening. But the morning to me is an awesome time to do that because, yeah, I know your opportunity cost is you're missing out the ability to really jam through a bunch of rides in the theme parks. But the thing that you gain is it's so quiet. It's so relaxing. And it really is a serene environment in the morning when you go to the pools. Or like, for example, like, at Wilderness Lodge and the Geyser Point complex, where they have the bar and then they have the like the little counter service window. But then they also, on the other side of it, like facing Bay Lake, they have this little game area where they have like a pool table and ping pong and all kinds of other cool, fun games that the kids just love. And if you're doing that in the afternoon or in the evening hours, it's pretty, it can be kind of packed in there, but in the morning you can have it by yourself. And I know somebody's going to say, why would you go to Walt Disney World to go swimming? Or why would you go there to go play games? My answer to that is that you are on vacation and you need to relax. You need to have some downtime and some bonding time with your family. And if you're going through the theme parks morning to night, you want to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak. But how good is that if you're wearing yourself so ragged and thin that you're at each other's throats and you're angry and you're yelling? And, we've all seen that, unfortunately. And you hate to see that because you want to see people having a good time. I think that's important to bake that in there. So having that time, separate from the folks who you were at this destination vacation with, and also having non-traditional time at the resort that most guests aren't taking advantage of. So from there, to kind of meet back up at the room, and I was thinking like maybe make some sandwiches or whatever for lunch. Maybe smoke some brisket. I don't know. I mean, just something simple.
Out on your little terrace there, might as well.
Yeah, I mean, I could rig up something. It's just they're like good 12-hour brisket out there, and really take advantage of the kitchen that you have in that room, and again, taking advantage of maybe just a couple meals during the vacation that are prepared in that kitchen. You factor what you're saving, what you would have been spending and going in a restaurant. That there again can help you kind of close that delta with the difference in cost of having that that crazy 3-bedroom villa versus just a normal standard room 2 times with 2 different families. So I was thinking after lunch and maybe ride the boat over the Magic Kingdom.
Which I love, by the way. Love the boat over to Magic Kingdom from there.
Yeah, it's nice, man. Yeah. It's nice and relaxing. But here's the thing. I was thinking ride it to the Magic Kingdom and then do a resort hop on the resort loop. So go to check out the Christmas decorations. We're talking first week of December. Check out the decorations of the Contemporary, the Polynesian, and the Grand Floridian. And once we kind of meandered around, walked around, checked out the decorations and enjoyed that, hop on a bus from the Grand Floridian and go to Hollywood Studios. And then here's the thing, time to take a leisurely stroll. I love Hollywood Studios at night. It's beautiful.
Yep.
Like lights are just so gorgeous.
Especially at Christmas too. The decorations are great.
Yeah.
That's like second to Main Street for me. Hollywood Boulevard there is excellent at Christmas time.
Yeah, Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, both of them.
Beautiful. And I was thinking, like, use that as an opportunity to really use My Disney Experience, use the app and see what the wait times are, and kind of then, plan as we go, and, kind of go on the fly and see what, character meet and greets or don't have a lot of wait or attractions or shows. Here's why I like this idea and not having like a firm plan, is because I think it's important to just kind of wander, and you will find some interesting experiences and memories that you'll make just by wandering around and not really saying we're going to be going this very rigid schedule, point A to B to C, no time to stop, no time to smell the roses. I think that, to me, doesn't sound like a really nice way to enjoy your time there, because some really cool things can happen. You can bump into things kind of happenstance by just wandering around. Now, like, for example, like Citizens of Hollywood, we're talking about Hollywood Studios, although they don't do any performances in the evening hours. It's usually morning and afternoon. But, something like that, a lot of guests just happen upon them just because you don't see their schedule on the Times Guide. You just happen to walk up and they're doing a performance. That's a great example of how just being willing to yield to time and whatever comes up in front of you, whatever experience you kind of see, that's a really cool way to experience the parks, in my opinion. So it's kind of trying to mix it up a little bit. But then for dinner, I think grabbing a reservation at 50's Primetime Cafe just seemed like just such a cool idea. It's great for families. Kids love it. There's that kind of playful mood with the cast members in there. The food's good. There's a good variety of stuff that kids like. I think the menu is very unique in terms of the things that you can get, even though, like someone say, oh, fried chicken, I can get fried chicken in a million.
But it's different there. It's
different
there.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good fried chicken.
Really good. The meatloaf too. The meatloaf, the fried chicken, and don't forget the peanut butter and jelly milkshake, man.
I'm not a huge milkshake fan, but because
yours doesn't bring all the boys to the yard.
Is she a one-hit wonder?
Yeah. You know what's funny is I went to Saturday Night Live once in my life, and she was the musical guest. And my brother and we sat like third row on the floor at SNL, and I shook hands with Lorne Michaels and Jimmy Fallon and what's his name? I forget his name. Kenan Thompson.
Yeah.
And we were like, Tina Fey was kind of like not really talking to us, but talking to people we were with, and amazing. I met Mike Myers. Crazy. Drew Barrymore was the host, and it was Khalees with the milkshake song. And
boy,
the one she's the epitome of the one hit wonder, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. You were saying you don't like milkshakes.
I had
Khalees' milkshake. You don't like that.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just I got some hang-ups, man. And
Amy doesn't like milkshakes either. She'll never even try one. I've tried 1,000 times to get her to eat one or drink one, not eat it, and she won't. It drives me nuts.
Part of my problem is again, people think I'm stupid. I don't like milk. Like, if milk's in pancake batter or cake batter and you produce the product, I'm totally on board. But if you set a cup of milk in front of me and say, I'll give you $1,000, I'll just smack that cup of milk out of your hand and say, keep your $1,000.
Really, $1,000 you wouldn't drink milk?
$100,000 I probably wouldn't even do it.
Oh, wow. Milk. I grew up on it. I can still drink it now.
Well, and so, like, if I get ice cream, I have to eat ice cream like a madman. Like, I'm just going to, because I don't want it to melt.
Sure,
because then there's like that consistency. Yeah. But so what ends up happening is I get these insane brain freezes, which probably explains a lot in terms of the brain damage I've endured from eating ice cream in ridiculously fast pace. But awesome desserts at prime time. And you mentioned the milkshake, but gosh, I had something really good the last time. I was here like a year and a half ago, I think it was now. It's been a little while, but something really good. They used to have this parfait there, this Boston cream parfait, which sounds so lame, like a parfait, but it's themed to the 50s. Like, that was a thing. and it was so good, but they took it off the menu.
Now I can't stop thinking about Shrek. Parfait is delicious.
Well, and there was the other. You know what? That's funny. But there's another funny one. And this is Shrek. Everybody knows. But do you remember that? What was that movie that Jack Black and Ben Stiller and Jack Black?
It was Extract.
Oh, gee, I don't know,
I don't think I've ever seen. If that's the one you're talking about. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Well, it wasn't a great movie, but essentially the punchline I was trying to get to was Jack Black was kind of this obnoxious neighbor guy and a family friend of theirs, and he invented this product called Evaporate that he would spray this aerosol can on dog duty.
Yeah. Now I remember talking about
it.
Yeah.
Evaporated, and he became this gazillionaire, and he just was nonstop eating flan, and he'd always like, hey, come on, eat some flan. It's good. And I was thinking about that when you talk about your thing with the donkey. And I was thinking like wrapping the day up, then to kind of wrap it up day 3 with Fantasmic. And I think that's always a fun show. I like seeing that. And that's day 3. We jam into day 4. We're kind of like we've crested. Now it's like kind of rolling into the final 2 days here, really final 2 full days.
I just had a question for you. So do you go? I forget where you were with the fast passes on that day. Are you one to fast pass Fantasmic, or are you one that's just going to wait in a line outside and just kind of get in with everyone else?
All right, so I'm going to say something super unpopular. So they have the Fantasmic dinner packages. Right. I've done that before. So you get a reserved section.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear your review on it because I have a definite review on this. But go ahead.
I like the idea.
Yep.
It's good on paper, but the section that they sit you in, it's a decent section. It's kind of in the middle, a little off to the right, but like back to the very top of the little amphitheater. They still want you to get there super crazy early. And so it's not like you're like rolling up 2 minutes before it starts and then sitting down on that bleacher seats. It's hard because, so with kids, sitting in those bleacher seats is tough because they're constantly kneeing people in the back in front of them and smacking them in the head and doing that kind of jazz. I think the Smiths kids, they're teens, so they probably wouldn't do that, but at least I don't think they would. But so when I do it, I'm one of those crazies that just kind of likes to just roll the dice and see if I can get it at the last minute so that I'm not sitting there in the bleachers for super long time. And plus, I don't know what it is, but my butt falls asleep all the time. I don't know if you need to know that, but
well, now it's officially on the show, so there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
that's okay. You put it out there; it's fine.
Like, I want you to know these things. Like, so don't ever you won't be doing me a favor. Like, oh, I got this ice cold glass of milk. Let me go give it to Johnny. Like, I'm not down. And
as he sits on the Fantasmic bleachers, and his
as my butt's falling asleep. Because I had that moment where my butt fell asleep at Disney Junior Live on stage. And I was sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
It was me and my 3 kids, and my kids had to help me up like a limbo. It's like, why can't you get up, old man? My hind quarters have fallen asleep.
Dude, I agree though. Like I don't like the Fantasmic dinner package. I know it might be an unpopular opinion. I've had clients that insist on it, and I'll book it because they want it, and that's But if anyone asks for my opinion on it, I usually would say no. I won't do it.
And is the menu limited to? For where, in the restaurants, do they kind of give you like a limited choice of things you can get?
You know what, on the top of my head, I've done it at Hollywood and Vine. So.
Oh, okay. So it's everything there. But I
think you're right though, at the Brown.
I did it at Mama Melrose a couple times. And I want to say that this was probably 10 years ago.
I mean, it's a fixed price, right? So yeah, I'd imagine it would be.
Yeah, I want to say that you didn't get to choose from everything on the menu, but I could be wrong. My memory's not great, and this was 10 years ago. But so yeah, I kind of like to roll the dice. And look, Another thing that's cool is, if you're trying to do that move and be like right at the last minute, like Indiana Jones kind of sliding in.
Grab the hat.
Yeah, grab the hat. If you don't make it, then taking a leisurely stroll through Hollywood Studios at night when everybody that's in the park is in the Fantasmic Amphitheater is pretty cool because it's at night. It's so beautiful just to walk. And if you're doing it without having a million people around you is a really nice little treat. And then you can always just go grab the bus and hit the road and not have to worry about being shoulder to shoulder in the bus. So that's the silver lining of the cloud if that doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, and you're not, again, like that's the thing about Fantasmic still is that wait in line and then the wait in the theater. I wish they had figured out a better way for that show to work. They still haven't. It's been there for 20 years. They just never have. I guess it's just one way in, there's one way out, and that's the way it goes. But I kind of wish that there was, like, again, you can use a fast pass for it. I don't recommend that either. But anyway, that's just kind of my feeling.
Yeah, it's a cool show because you know what? Even if you're at the last minute and you don't get like a front row seat, I mean, you're in the back. Everywhere you sit there is a great seat.
You can see it. Yeah, you can see it from anywhere.
Yeah.
As I yawn, excuse me, I'm sorry.
All right, so let me pick it up here to day 4. And you kind of see the trend here. I like the idea of me and my crew just kind of hanging out in the room, but I think the Smith crew would probably I would kind of recommend them doing like the earliest possible reservation for 4 at Akershus to get the breakfast there. I mean, even though
cheese, you got to get the brown cheese.
Well, they're kids, they're teenagers. They're pretty good eaters, and they're world travelers. They go all over the place, and the kids are good, so they would enjoy it, I think. But I think the cool thing about that is after that they can walk over and try to hit Frozen Ever After before it gets super crowded. Try to beat the crowds over there. Then meet up with them, with my crew, probably try to hit some like the holiday special stuff that goes around World Showcase, which should open around 11, I think is like kind of like the hot, it always opens at 11. And then I was thinking, here's the kicker though, kind of do that, cruise around. So, they have like some things you can snack on along the way. Find some place to eat, whatever, no big deal. Kind of take a light lunch. But then see if we could have you score some Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party tickets for all 9 of us that night, and then get some dinner at Liberty Tree Tavern. Because I think like the combo of dinner at Liberty Tree Tavern and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, even though, everyone says Liberty Tree Tavern at Thanksgiving, I don't think
that's Christmas too. Same deal. It's the same deal for me. That's the same meal that I have on Christmas is what I have on Thanksgiving. Same thing.
Yeah, and I think
maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
No, I'm right there with you. And I think that it's a cool kind of 1-2 punch in terms of like ideas in terms of how to do that kind of experience well. Because, if you're going to be there cruising through the parks and doing all this stuff there, the parades and the fireworks and all the little special things they do there, you want to have a belly full of good hearty food because there's a lot of sweets that tend to be readily available, hot chocolate.
Yeah, all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, like the little cookies and things like that. And there's like the special treats that they tend to have available just at that party. So you don't want to come in there like with an empty belly and then just fill up on sugar, and then you'll really get crazy.
Yeah, and the thing about that is too you can time that where you don't even have to have. Well, you would have park hoppers at that point, but I was saying because you would be at the other park in the morning. But you don't have to have a park ticket to get into the party that night either. You can have just a party ticket and get in at 4 p.m. even though the party doesn't start till 7. So it's kind of nice. You can make, say you didn't have park tickets that day, you can have the party ticket, get in at 4, and have a 4:15, 4:30 Liberty Tree reservation. It still works out. You can get a reservation after 7. For the party, but you can between 4 and 7, so that works if you want to do it that way. Yeah,
because then you're maximizing your time in the party. Yeah, I think it's definitely a cool idea. All right, so cruising into day 5, I was thinking all 9 of us try to do breakfast, early breakfast, eat at the room, because I think that way you can kind of really get, and it's another way to not only take advantage of the room and what it can offer, and you can save a couple bucks because you're eating from groceries that you got versus, a full blown sit down meal or something like that.
We do breakfast in the room almost like we always get a 1-bedroom villa with my kids. We're DVC members, even though we don't really have to. We could get by with the studio, but we like the 1-bedroom just for privacy for Amy and I at night. Like, we like to put the kids. We will put the kids in the bed, in the king bed, all 3 of them, and she and I will sleep on a pull-out. Seriously, because then at night we can sit at the dining room table. We can talk. We can sometimes we'll play cards. We can watch TV. I like having that time at night, kind of. You know what I mean? Like to kind of just have a little bit of privacy and all that. So I don't know.
You're winding down and you have a little room to stretch out and you're not just cramped. I know. Hey, and that's not. I'm not trying to disrespect that strategy because there are some people that I know who they get enjoyment from Walt Disney World by using the hotel room just as a place to sleep and shower and just keep their stuff and have the complimentary transportation and all the things that go with staying on Disney property. But they don't necessarily find a lot of pleasure in spending time at the room, just kind of that downtime. And that's cool. That's totally cool.
Yeah, those are my clients that I recommend stay at a value or the lowest moderate, because the lowest price moderate, because if you're not using the amenities at your resort at all, why pay for a premium hotel? It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Don't stay at the Poly or the Contemporary if you're going to sleep and shower there, and that's it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. So I was thinking, do that, and then try to get to the Magic Kingdom right when it opens, and do that idea of just jam as many rides as possible, and see if you could help us score a lunch reservation at Be Our Guest.
Dude, did you hear my story from this week? By the way, I'm sorry. I know this is a podcast, but something happened to me this week with that. I had a client who booked late. Booked well within the 180-day window. I'm sorry to hijack what you're saying.
No, I'm curious here what's going on.
But she booked well within 180 days. She booked her trip, I don't know, 90 to 100 days out. So, the dining reservations that she wanted were pretty impossible to get.
Yeah.
She wanted a Be Our Guest reservation for her week, and I couldn't get it. I kept trying and trying and trying. And she got to Walt Disney World the other day and emailed me again and said, anything you could do to get me Be Our Guest would be great. And I never say no. So I say, I'll work on it. I'll try. I'll work on it. I'll try. And I did keep trying. And then yesterday, just on a whim, I woke up. I was having my coffee. I think I was doing Fast Pass for someone else early in the morning. And I thought, I'll just check. And I found a reservation for Be Our Guest for yesterday, which was amazing to me that it was even available. But
I've done that too.
Just keep looking. Just keep looking, because people within that 24-hour window will cancel because they can't get there, or they don't want it anymore, or can't get sick, or who knows. So it makes sense to keep looking because they do open up.
Well, and this is not the case for every restaurant, and I don't have the master list of which ones do this and which ones don't. But there are some restaurants that I've talked to the cast members there, and they've said they do not allow 100% booking through the dining reservation system. So they purposely leave some tables available for walk-ins at those restaurants. Again, not every restaurant, but there are some. So it certainly can't hurt too, if you're roaming the parks, you don't have a reservation, just if you try to do it at noon or at 6 o'clock,
right,
you're gonna have a hard time. But if you right when they open those doors, or right when you see the cast members are getting set up, just to run up there and say, hey, is there any chance you got anything today? You might get lucky.
And then a little tip for Be Our Guest as well: they close between lunch and dinner. I forget off the top of my head what time they close. But if you try to get there about 20 minutes, half hour before they close, the lunch closes down, you have a pretty good chance of getting in, because they'll have tables available because people will be leaving, and you can walk in instead of waiting that hour or whatever it will be. You can walk in, with 20 minutes to go, get it. It's quick service, a counter service. So even though they bring you your food, it's still a counter service meal. So you have a chance to do it that way.
Yeah. No, that's it. I haven't heard that one. That's an interesting tip.
Yeah, that's a Chuck Rodriguez tip. Just so I want to give credit where credit is due. That's not mine. Chuck he's the master of, speaking of Disney hacks, he has all these little cheats and secrets that once in a while he'll tell me. But not much. Like we'll be in the park and he'll be like, "Hey man, watch this." So
really,
he's that kind of guy. Yeah, he keeps stuff pretty close to the vest, but once in a while he'll break one out. And I probably just ruined his cover right there with that. He's gonna be listening to this week and be like, "Ah." Everybody knows.
He's gonna Gronk spike his phone. Yeah, shout out to Safety Dave. How you doing, man?
He's gonna come get me. Actually, I'm not afraid.
Of Chuck. You have to watch out for Chuck, man.
Yeah, Chuck. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of Chuck. I think I take him. Anyway, sorry, man. I hijacked it again.
Oh, so I was thinking, you can talk about Fast Pass, get a couple of things, but I think again this would be good to after lunch, after hitting a few rides. Take a quick dip in the pool, freshen up for dinner, take our time, enjoy some leisure time. Because on day 5 we're talking about here, you're going to be a little winded, so you don't want to really push yourself too hard. But here's where I was thinking it'd be kind of fun and different. So I was thinking, get a reservation for the 5 kids at Lilo's Playhouse that night over at the Polynesian. I'm local. I have my car. I drive my crew over there. I think because I have seen the minivans stationed at Wilderness Lodge. I know originally they were saying they're only at like Yacht and Beach and Boardwalk, I think, were the only ones. But I've seen like a whole caravan of them many times over at Wilderness Lodge. I don't have the Lyft app, so I haven't tried it myself. But I was thinking, maybe Will can probably grab a minivan for his 2 and go over there and hang out. And then ride over to, take the monorail over to the Grand Floridian, and then the 4 adults have dinner at Victoria and Albert's. So that way, I think it's an interesting idea. Although his kids might be too old for that, for Lilo's Place. Because what's the cutoff at Lilo's Place? At 12?
Oh, geez, I don't know off the top of my head. You caught me. Now I'm gonna look it up. Hold on 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. No, well. Either way, I mean, I think Lilo's Playhouse, and I think there's a couple others around. I think there's one Yacht Club has one, and then Animal Kingdom has one. They used to have one. You told me that the one at Wilderness Lodge
they closed that one. Yeah.
I think that's an interesting idea because the
12 years old, is the cutoff.
So his kids are going to have to find something else to do. So anyway, but I think that's a neat thing.
Teenagers, send them to Pleasure Island. They'll have fun.
On the Pleasure Island. They go to Sosa's and get cigars. Just like in Pinocchio. Which, by the way, I was at the soccer shop the other day next door to the cigar shop on the West End in Disney Springs.
Okay.
Like the West End side.
Oh, yeah.
That soccer shop smells like a big cigar because it somehow shares the ductwork with the cigar shop.
Oh, man. You imagine buying your kid's shorts or something and taking them home? It smells just like a cigar.
I was talking to because I don't think those are Disney cast members in there. I think they're just employees of that private.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
I was talking to the employee that said, "Is this like this every day?" And I said, "Yep." And
they probably love it.
No, they hated it.
I was kidding. I was being
I know they probably. I said, "Wow, it stinks, man. You should go get a job at one of the stores that butts up next to the Candy Cauldron, like smelling caramel all day instead of cigars." I mean, shout out to cigars and all the cigar smokers. I'm not trying to hate on you, but if you're not a cigar smoker, that's not necessarily a thing you want to be breathing all day long.
Dude, my grandfather smoked cigars, and I used to go to his house, and I swear, as I was walking up the walkway to his house, I could smell it. Like outside in the front yard, I could smell it. Yeah. It was and he moved, or he didn't move. He passed away, and my uncle moved into the house, and I swear, years later, I would walk in and still smell it in the wood. Like years later, it's not something that goes away. That's a rough smell.
Grandma used to smoke Tipperillos. You know what Tipperillos are? Yeah, Grandma would smoke a Tipperillo and ride her Harley. Like I said to her, you're wasting money because she had one of those low boys that had a little tiny windscreen on it. I said, you take one drag off your Chipperillo, Grandma, and that's it, because the wind blowing all the way down. She didn't care. You know?
She's a rebel, man.
I don't know how I made it this far in life with this DNA that I have. But anyway, so Victoria and Albert's. So here's the idea I think is interesting is that, and maybe not a lot of people think about it or talk about it anymore. It used to be bigger, I think, in terms of, an idea, but having the ability to, like if you're on the cruise, Disney cruise, this is something you do basically every day. The kids go to their own little activity areas and the parents do their own thing. But there are opportunities to do this at Walt Disney World. And, to do this toward the end of the vacation, like have like the last night, and I'm talking about the fifth day, you take the last night and, you with your significant other, or in this case, the four, the four adults, just sit down and have just a nice meal, just the adults. And, I love my kids to death. They are just such an amazing blessing to me. I could gush over them all day long. But, it's so nice to have that adult time. And I think that would be a nice way to kind of round out the vacation and round out time with friends and family. And then, so that kind of just leads into the final day. The final day would be, checkout day. And I was thinking like, a cool way to kind of send it off would be like all 9 of us breakfast at Whispering Canyon. I know like Whispering Canyon we've talked about this before, is like the thing is dinner. But the breakfast is really good. Like they have good food.
Yeah, food-wise, the breakfast is excellent. Absolutely.
Yeah. They had like a crazy like pecan French toast thing last time I ate breakfast there.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And here's the thing. I was thinking like, have like a nice little thing for to kind of send off on the final day before everyone goes their separate ways. I was thinking like book a spa package. I don't know if that's something you do or you can do, but
I can. Yeah, sure, I can do it. Yep.
I was thinking like, book a spa package. My wife can take our car, take Jada over there and go to like Grand Floridian and Senses. And then I was thinking like, so, Will and I've got the kids. So we'd go down to like Splitsville at Disney Springs, grab some lunch, do some. My kids love to go bowling at Splitsville. We don't get to go there that often. It's a little pricey. But, if you're on vacation, it's like a splurge kind of thing. And the food there is really good. They have sushi there. I don't know if have you ever eaten at Splitsville?
So I have, but we got one of the pizza things. I wasn't gutsy enough to try the sushi at Splitsville.
Yeah, I've had the flatbread kind of pizza.
Yeah, I know they call them flatbreads, whatever.
Yeah, it's okay. The sushi, I was surprised. I thought it was really like, you think like bowling alley sushi. That's like,
it's different though, right? It's elevated a bit. It's not bowling alley food.
No, it's not. It's not like the kind of places Grandma used to drag me to on bowling night. Gosh, everyone had a Tipperillo hanging out of their yap, and those places. Fist fights in the parking lot. It was like Big Lebowski kind
of shady backroom deals that she was doing.
Yeah. She was something else. I'm not allowed to talk about what she did for a living because there's still some pending lawsuits going on. But the sushi there is really good at Splitsville, so this is a nice clean atmosphere. It's a fun atmosphere, and the way they have it laid out at Splitsville is kind of interesting because it's not, and they have a ton of lanes, but they're not like all side by side, like one massive bank of lanes like you see at a typical bowling alley. They're kind of separated out. So you're not like on top of each other or like in this mass of people just bowling and like you have the noise from it. So I think it was pretty genius how they laid it out in there. And, 2 floors. And so good. It's a good fun way for, guide time with the kids to go hang out and do some bowling and then kind of go our separate ways. I think that'd be kind of a fun way to wrap it up.
I can still get my Cheers DVDs in that building, right? Like if I want to go in and get them in the Splitsville building, they still have that little section.
Do you remember there was that tower? Was that, it was Virgin.
Yeah, Virgin Megastore, yeah.
And then there's like do you remember what happened when they closed the Virgin store? It was like vacant for a while. Then they made like this little pop-up shop with cars.
Yeah,
like
the remote control cars that would go in design.
Yeah, but it still had the bones of Virgin.
Yeah, they just kind of they put up some temporary walls and yeah, it wasn't great. But they have that. They still, it's like Riders or something, Ride something. They still have that store at Disneyland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ride Makers. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They still have that in Disneyland. They have in their downtown Disney. They people still go there. By the way, they have the biggest. Sorry, people who work at this place, but the biggest sham ever at downtown Disney and Disneyland, and it's the Build-A-Bear Workshop. That is crazy. That operation. So sorry, Build-A-Bear people. I'm gonna rip you right now, and dude, Johnny, you know me. I am not a negative person at all, but we got totally ripped off at that place. I think they work on a commission. I don't know for a fact. But we got Amy and I took the kids in and they walked around and they picked out bears. They picked out clothes. And this girl's talking us into, you need underwear for the bear. And I'm like looking at Amy like, why does the bear need underwear? It's its teddy bear. And they're like, no, you need it. And the kids are like, yeah, Dad, we need it. And they're like, they need raincoats and shoes and these special things. Dude, we walked out of there. It was like $300 for 3 teddy bears.
Yeah, you got to get the sock garters.
Dude, no, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, you got to get the hand wipes in case the bear's eating lunch. You don't want to go to the bathroom and wash your hands. Just, a little wet nap.
There's no prices on anything. And this girl's talking us into stuff. And my kids are looking at me. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess the bear needs Captain America underwear. Yeah, we'll do that. That's cool. And then when we get up, it's like $298. I swear. I'm not kidding. I my jaw hit the floor.
It's a ruse because it's not like you're going to say, put some of this back and your kids are right there. Let me tell you a funny one. When I did see that, I was at, that chain of stores, Teavana.
Yeah.
So I was at one of those one time, was buying a gift for somebody, and the person in front of me in line was having the employee really talk up this kind of crazy tea, and it looked like little golf balls, and it was weird. Like you pop it in the water and it kind of blossomed, and he's like all the health benefits and this and that. And I'm sitting there going, wow, maybe I should pick up a couple of those golf balls for my gift also. And then, as this guy is telling the story, he's just scooping these things into one of the little tins, and he goes and weighs it, and then it goes up into the register with the price, and he goes to the lady, all right, that'll be $147. And she goes, no, it won't. Go ahead and put some of those back. I thought, wow, I am so jealous of you.
I know. You wish you could do that, right? Like, really?
I was so awestruck. I don't get awestruck often, but I was just so impressed by this lady's gumption.
Yeah, dude, I wish I could have done that where I would at Build-A-Bear, but no. I'm like $300. Yeah, here's my credit card, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
2 or 3 $100 teddy bears. It's insane.
It's and I understand your frustration because like we said, you can't say that in front of the kids because the kids are all hyped up.
Then it's going to be Meltdown City for 4 hours, and I have to deal with that. And I was like, well
dude, not just Meltdown City 4. That's like trauma. Like they're going to be 16 years old and saying,
right?
You remember that day?
Yeah, like I had the perfect bear picked out, and you made me put it back. I don't want to be that dad who, when they're when they're getting engaged, they're like, I can't deal with my dad anymore because he made me put that bear back. I don't want that in my life. I don't want that hanging over my relationship with my kids.
Yeah, or you bring them to Country Bear Jamboree and they have a manic episode,
a wartime flashback. No thanks. Anyway, man, I want you to you got to finish with your thing. I'm like completely stealing and running away with crazy ideas here.
No, and I think that was what I absolutely hope that you would do, because I think it's important to kind of at least have a conversation, and I think that's what's fun about working with you and stuff like this is, it's good to hear your take on these things, and there's always funny stories that come out of it, but. So I think that was kind of my thing in terms of saying I think that would be a fun way to kind of mix it up and have some fun with some friends and to do it in a way that I think is hopefully very relaxing, and also allowing us to really take advantage of the things not only at the resort hotel, but in the theme parks in Disney Springs as well, and just to really be able to walk away from that time as saying, wow, that was a great vacation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that sounds like a great time. I do think you guys as locals would have a lot of fun with that. I think the Smith family as California natives would also have a great time. I didn't realize you were such close friends with the Smiths until this episode, but you and I have to talk more about that when I hit, turn the recorder off.
Yeah, we can talk about offline.
Yeah. But I was going to go into my itinerary, but with the time that we have, and I think I want to cut it here. The one thing I was thinking of, like, as we were talking about all that stuff, is when I have clients call me, and I go into these stories. I do this with clients. It's not just me and you as friends, where I go into stories and tell them what I think. And all of a sudden, I feel bad for every client that I've had, because I'm like, I do this all the time. Like, I am such a Disney nerd that I will talk to them. I had a client call, I swear, man, last week for 2 hours. I was on the phone with a client. And I hung up the phone, and I looked at my phone. It was like 1 hour, 56 minutes. And I was like, oh, my God, this lady thinks I'm nuts. And
man.
She called. She texted me like 10 minutes later and was like, thank you so much for the call. I can't wait for my trip. I'm so excited. And I was like, okay, thank God. Like, I thought I completely weirded her out.
No, here's my take on that. And this is the world according to Johnny. I think anytime that you bump into somebody in a situation like that, when you see that they truly have a passion for what they do in their profession, that's a really amazing thing that you want to just be a part of and plug into in whatever capacity you can, because that's not a common thing, unfortunately, these days. And people just kind of, unfortunately, just cruise through life and do what they do, and they do because they have to. You're in a very unique position where you're able to earn a living in a way that allows for you to share your passion with other people. And that passion's infectious. And that's why I like chatting with you, even when we're not recording, about the stuff that's going on. And so I don't think you should ever be embarrassed or ashamed or apologetic for having that passion, man. We look at you from afar and go, wow, that's cool, man. We're so happy for you that you get to do that.
Thanks, man. And you're the same way. Like you. That's why I have you on the show all the time. And yeah, I think if people could listen to our conversations when we're not recording, they would laugh a lot, I think. And then they would also probably be shocked at some of our language that we use when we're not on the G-rated podcast.
Oh, man. Yeah. Not many people know we speak Portuguese. And a little French in there.
I throw a lot of little South African dialects into my conversations.
That's how the kids can't understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I had a babysitter who spoke Spanish and English, and when she would say stuff to her husband in Spanish, I knew right away they were talking about me, like saying something about me. I know it.
Dude,
I know.
That's us with my kids, with our kids, and we spell stuff. And now that Alexa's going into first grade, she spells a lot more than I remember. Yeah. And I'll be like, all right, I'll say to Amy, I'll be like, all right, they need to get BATHs like after soccer practice. And Alexa will be like, I'm just going to bath in the morning. I'm like, darn. How do you spell? I forgot.
I pulled that number today, actually, with my wife. I said, I got, talking about the stuff I got for my daughter's lunch for tomorrow for school. I said, I got her something special. I got her a COOKIE from the bakery. And she overheard me. She goes, what flavor? Like, darn it. She knows.
It's so funny. Like you forget because you've been spelling for so long.
Yeah.
Like ever since they could talk, you've been spelling. And now that you're doing it, yeah, you're screwed.
Well, it's bad when you do it to like your adult friends.
I know. I do it.
Hey, do you want to go out for DINNER sometime?
I do. Oh my God, I do it all the time. I spell stuff to my adult, friends without kids, and they look at you like you're nuts, and you're like, dude, just give me a break. Like I'm going on 6 hours sleep, and whatever. Like, just deal with it.
Well, it's funny because then you see parents who have newborns or young, infants, and they're used to holding them and rocking, and you can tell like when they're not, you can see them rocking like they're doing like an imaginary hula hoop, like because they're so used to like muscle memory rocking.
Yeah, they keep rocking. I know. I think I did the same thing when my kids were little. Yeah, it's weird. As parents, we do lots of weird things. I don't know if you ever go out of that.
I wonder if you like sit down for lunch with James Hetfield. Does he just like head bang the whole time he's eating lunch?
Talking to you? It's like, pass the ketchup.
How about that North Korea situation? He's just banging his head away.
Should we tell anybody who James Hetfield is, or should we let them?
Let them figure it out, and you know what you do. Yeah, this is why I'm so brilliant. Despite the ice cream headaches, you put a little contest out there and say, first person who can tell us who James Hetfield is, give him like I don't know, give him like $100 off the vacation planning package that you offer, with all the itinerary planning and Magic Express.
You gotta stop. It's free.
What?
That's all free.
You're doing the Magic Express thing for free now?
No.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
The whole trip. Not the trip. No. The whole planning, all the planning that I do. Not the trip. You have to pay for your trip. The planning that I take care of for you is all free.
Oh, okay. Wait, okay. So that's actually brilliant. So they pay for the trip and they pay you like the premium, like the 20% on top of that for your service. That's how they do it, or
actually not true at all. Disney pays me a commission on what each client buys. So they pay. No one ever has paid me a nickel for booking a trip.
By the beard of Zeus, why would anybody do this on their own?
Dude, you know what? After this episode of the show, I agree with you. Why would they?
Yeah. I mean, that's just crazy. That's some crazy chicken right there, man.
Agreed.
Pollo Loco. That's for my friends out in California, the Smiths. Hey, what's happening? Shout out to the Smiths.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm sweating. I'm laughing so hard, by the way.
Get the meat sweats? I had that at Ohana the other day. Good gravy.
That's a good place to get it, man. That really is.
I had to apologize to the service. Like, man, I got the meat sweats. I'm sorry. And he looked at me. He's like, it's okay.
No, it happens every night there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I told the story about how I was going to propose to Amy at Ohana, right? And I know I've said it on a podcast before, and then we had a family that was seated. I was ready to propose. And I was like, she loves this restaurant. Wishes at the time was playing in the background. I'm like, here we go. I'm going to do it now. And a family was seated. You know how, like, sometimes at Ohana, there's not a whole big space between your tables? So they were like kind of on top of us. And the family was fine, but they were not, they were just there. And they were animated, and they were loud, and they were talking. And that's their right, obviously. They're on vacation. But it wasn't right for me to propose. So I had to get out of there, and I ended up... I've told you the story, and it's a long story, but I ended up proposing in Magic Kingdom, and it worked out. But, yeah, I was sweating that night, but it wasn't the meat sweats. It was more the, if she says no, I'll be humiliated sweats. But it worked out. It worked out. That was almost, we're almost married 10 years. We'll be married 10 years in January, so.
Was that part of the Build-A-Bear package? You had to get like an engagement ring so the two get married?
That's well done, man. I was trying to think of a joke to top that, and I'm like, no way, that's too good. I'm not beating that. All right, man. So, dude, I gotta cut us off because we'll talk. We're at an hour and 30, and we'll just keep going. So,
well, if people dig it, then and they get the good response, then we'll do version 2 where you hear yours that you prepared. That I end up running my gums for the whole time.
No, man. No, you didn't at all. It was a lot of fun, and thanks again for always coming on, and this was a fun one because we got to kind of go back and forth and just kind of talk about what is how we would do it and how you would do it, how I would do it, and it was a good one. But I was going to give you a chance to talk about one of your things that you like to talk about, either charities or real. But I'm afraid to ask you what you would like to plug this week because I don't want to get duped again. So if I'm giving you a chance to plug something, are you gonna make me feel dumb, or are you gonna plug something for real?
Well, I can't. I don't. I'm hesitating to say something because right now the National Moped Association, they've been flooded with funding. Right now, they don't even know what to do with all this money at the beginning because we've been giving them so much exposure. It's a good problem to have right now. So they're expanding. They're building a new campus over here in the west side of Orlando, and pretty soon this is going to be a nationwide effort that we're going to be seeing. So yeah, thanks for giving me the platform.
I'm glad they're thriving on the words of Johnny Shortsleeve and the Ear to Their podcast. It's very nice.
I saw a guy out there today, card carrying member of National Moped Association, helmet, leathers. He was doing it right, and I was happy to see that they're making a difference. They're changing lives.
That's great. All right, man. Well, thank you again.
Right on, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks. I'll have you on again soon, and I'm sure I'll talk to you probably tomorrow. So thanks again, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Right on.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There podcast. Thank you once again to my friend, to my guest, to my constant co-host, Mr. Johnny Shortsleeve. It's always so much fun when he comes by. I say comes by like I have a studio and in a radio station where people come in. But I do have a mini studio. I just kind of record in there and edit in there all by my lonesome. But again, he's one of my favorite guests. That's why we do so many shows together. I love having him on. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you got some ideas for your next Walt Disney World itinerary. And just remember, I do work 100% completely for free. So if you need some help booking that next trip, please contact me. My email address is phil@eartotheretravel.com. You can also find my work number, my cell phone number, my Facebook page. All that stuff is not difficult at all to find. So please feel absolutely free to get in touch with me for your next Disney vacation. All right, just remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning, as well as a new episode of the Ear to There podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week, each and every Wednesday morning. And as I mentioned at the start of the show, I also have that new podcast, Running for Sandwiches, and that will be each and every Tuesday morning. So I've got a lot of recording, a lot of shows coming out each and every week. I hope you're enjoying them. I hope you're having fun, as much fun as I am, really. So thank you again so much for listening. Have a great week. Bye-bye.